This is Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage, your place for all things Wisconsin sports. Now, your host, Trage.
How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is April 23rd. We're at the end of April. It is draft time. The Brewers are we're hoping heating up, right? We got Badger football. Is spring showcase just happened. Goodness, we just have all kinds of stuff happening over this last week and going into this weekend. Goodness gracious, it is just a loaded up weekend. So we are here. We are here to talk about it all. We're here to talk about it all. Tonight, we got Ummer coming out. We're going to talk Packers here in the first part of the show. Talk Packers, get ready for the draft, what we're hoping to see, what we're expecting to see. So we got that going on. We got Kyle coming on later. We'll be talking Bucks Pacers, because right now it is not looking great, but we're going to talk Bucks Pacers, see if Kyle thinks, hey, maybe there's a shot, right? Maybe there's a shot. We got Rajiv is supposed to be on. If not, we might change it up. Maybe we'll get Scary on tonight. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. So we got a loaded up show. Regardless, we got a loaded up show, and we can't wait to get to it all here. So a fantastic night here to talk sports here on this Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you're settled in wherever you're at right now. Hope you're settled in. The weather has been getting a little bit nicer, right? I mean, we got rain coming up this week. Hopefully able to get my games in for my boys this weekend, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see on that one there. I hope everybody had a fantastic Easter. Of course, I had a fantastic Easter there. I mean, spent mine with my family, everything like that. So it's great in that sense there, but I hope everybody else had a fantastic Easter out there. You can find us across social media. Like I always tell you guys, find us across social media. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us wherever you can. Hit us up in text in line. Hit us up in the email, wherever you can find us there. So you can find us Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search Wisco Sports on the Go on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. You want to find us on Facebook and YouTube, search Wisco Sports on the Go with Trage. You can also email the show. You can email us. You can find us at wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. That is wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. Or you can shoot us a text, 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. Or hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to find us. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow. Give us your love, right? We just want your love out there. Let us know how we're doing there. We'd love to see it there. And then if you miss any of the show, you can find us next day on every podcast platform, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you want to find us, you can find us out there. We're hoping to get live here a little bit more on the off days. So that way, in case anything happens, we can get live, we can do videos, everything like that. So you guys like, subscribe, and follow us out there. We'll get more content put up. We'll get more content towards you guys there. So anyways, coming off the weekend, I had one thing that kind of, I would start the show with what was grinding my gears, right? What was grinding my gears coming off the weekend? And one of the biggest things that's been grinding my gears, I guess you could say, is I always go on the ESPN app or MLB, wherever it is. And you would believe that there was only like 3 teams in all of Major League Baseball. It's Yankees, Dodgers, Mets. That's who they're talking about all the time, right? Maybe not even the Mets at times. So usually just Dodgers, Yankees for sure, right? All the time. There's never, hey, look at Sal Frelick. He's batting, 340 something right now. There's never a mention about that. Nobody even notices, right? The other day, I was so surprised I saw on the MLB network, they're talking about their top rookies or whatever, and it was Chad Patrick, right? Chad Patrick was on there. I was like, wow, I can't believe they gave him that much recognition, right? It drives me nuts. It really does. It drives me nuts because we talk about small market teams, right? And how you give publicity or how you get, small markets more show, right? And an easy way, put them in front of more eyeballs. Not everybody wants to watch the Yankees. As much as MLB and as much as these, the big groups, they want to push that on you, right? Boom, boom, boom. You got to watch the Yankees. Nobody does. Nobody cares, right? I would rather sit there and I love watching, the Brewers, right? I mean, we all love watching the Brewers, right? But I'd love to see the Brewers take on the San Francisco Giants every once in a while. Something. Give me something. The Yankees, and give me the Yankees versus some random team on a Sunday night. I could care less. Sunday Night Baseball has kind of went downhill for me. And that's because they just put the same darn teams on there all the time. I don't care. You're hitting one market. You're not hitting all the markets. Put more of these small market teams in front of eyes. Put them in front of eyes. It's like March Madness. Nobody knows about UNBC or anybody from UNBC until they go to the tournament. And then they're like, oh my goodness, look at this team. Like, I want to root for this team. That's where I'm at with these guys. Give me the teams that we want to see. I shouldn't say that we all want to see, right? But spread it out a little bit. Spread the love. I don't know. That grinds my gears. Maybe it's just me. But I look all over, social media or wherever, and all these big outfits, the MLB app, bad app, and all that, and it's Yankees this, Dodgers this, everything like that. It's like, I don't care, right? I'm not clicking that. I don't care. The Shohei Ohtani, and I always get a lot of grief for this one from everybody, but I've never been on the Shohei Ohtani hype. I thought it was the 50-50 club was cool for a day, and then it got annoying. And hearing about it every single day just drove me nuts. So yeah, that's how I am. I want to hear about good baseball, who's doing good, not just one team just because they're the Yankees, not just this team because they're the Dodgers. That's just me, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of grinding my gears off the weekend. Might have not made sense to anybody out there, but for me, it's grinding my gears. The big market teams, we put them everywhere. We plaster them up on billboards. But the small market teams, it's like they don't even exist. You want to make them not exist? Don't put them in front of the eyeballs. Don't give them stories. There's stories in these small market teams. You just don't search for them. None of these beat writers, the big beat writers, search for them. They don't care, right? They don't. And that's my problem. That's my big problem with Major League Baseball. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to add. That's grinding my gears off the weekend there. So, hey, goodness, we got lots going on today. We're going to be talking, like I said, coming up here in this hour, we're going to talk Packers with Ummer. That's going to take a little bit, right? That's going to probably take the whole hour. Holy goodness, that's going to take the whole hour. We got Packer talk, draft talk, what Goody had to say, everything like that. So we're talking that. We got Kyle coming on later. We'll be talking Bucks. We got Rajiv or Scary. I don't know who's coming on later on tonight here, but we got one of those two coming on to talk Badgers later on. We got Brewer talk later on in the show. We got all kinds of stuff. So make sure you are sticking around here on the show. 2 hours of Wisconsin Sports on the Go Trade is just getting underway. We will be right back after this commercial break, and we'll get her started here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go Trade. Welcome back in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back here on this Wednesday, a fantastic Wednesday here in the great state of Wisconsin. Rain just about every day this week, as we know. It's been disgusting, but that's okay. Hey, it's okay because at Foreman's Hardware right now, they're getting you ready for spring. I know it doesn't feel like spring. Well, it does with the rain, but outside of that, without the sun, not so much springtime, but they can get you ready for when that sun finally does come out. They can get you all your gear. Foreman's Hardware offers everything from home essentials to farm supplies, house to farm, grills to drills. Foreman's Hardware has got you covered. Visit today in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin. There, tell them Trade sent you. You can get 5% off. 5% off if you tell them Trade sent you. That's all your tools, pavers, whatever you need for garden supplies. They got it there at Foreman's Hardware there in Loyal, Colby, and Medford, Wisconsin there. Hey, if you want to find us across social media, make sure you do it. Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. You want to find us on Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok, just search Wisco Sports on the Go. You want to find us on Facebook and YouTube, search Wisco Sports on the Go with Trade. And you can also email the show. You want your questions, concerns, comments, you want to criticize. I don't care what you want to do. You can tell us whatever you want. You can hit us up at the email there, wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. That is wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. Or you can shoot us a text. Hit us at the text in line 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914. So we went to the break there. First part of the show, I was telling you guys what's been grinding my gears as of late. What was grinding my gears coming off the weekend there. Now we got Ummer with us tonight here. We're going to be talking Packers because the draft. We got the draft coming up this week. We are stoked. It's in Green Bay for the one and probably only time they'll ever have it in Green Bay because that's just how it goes, right? It actually surprised me when they said it was the only time that it's ever been in Green Bay. Like, I had to double check that. I was like, really? Like, Titletown, USA, that's, you don't have the draft here ever? And it's the truth. It's only been once, and this is going to be the one time. So it should be a spectacle. It should be something to behold there. Can't wait to see the sights, sounds, everything like that. And I'm probably not going to go over there just because it's going to be madness. And, well, my son, he's only he's like a month old now, so he can't really, travel to Green Bay. So, well, anyways, enough about that. Ummer, how we doing tonight? It's Wednesday. We're excited. Draft's coming up here. What do you got for me tonight? How we doing?
Man, I'm awesome, man. I am really, really looking forward to this. It feels like it was just yesterday. It was January. I had no idea who was coming out. I was still reeling over the loss over the Eagles. And I was like, man, I got to, again, prepare myself for these amazing college students that are going to come into the NFL and live out their dreams. And man, I'm excited. I'm extremely excited. Hearing Gutekunst today gave me not much more or less insight. I think all of us know exactly what he does. He's very much keeps things close to the chest. But I'm good though. How are you doing, man? And congratulations again on the 1 month old there. I know how that goes, man. You're gonna be in for the fun time here.
It's the fun. It's the fun right now. He likes to sleep when you're holding him. Does not like to sleep when he's laying down. The bassinet is it's like his enemy is that bassinet. He hates that thing. But tell you what, you pick him up for a while, done, knocks out. He's like sleeping there.
Wait for those times where you're watching TV and you have him on your chest, and then both of you just pass out. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's the best sleep you're ever gonna get in your life.
He loves the Brewers and River Monsters. I've been on a River Monsters kick as of late here. We've been watching like all the episodes. Jeremy Wade is like the only reason that show went away was because he caught every fish that you could possibly catch. So it had
goodness.
But I mean, he's fantastic. So like he loves that show though. He crank his head around and he's watching what's going on there. I'm like, yes, sir. We're going fishing. That's gonna be your first birthday. We're going fishing. So that's all I know. That's all I know right there. So yeah, you mentioned it there. Brian Gutekunst spoke to the media today. Yeah. We learned absolutely nothing. Basically. Right? Yeah. We know the only thing we could say that we maybe learned was we're still looking to trade Jair Alexander.
Yeah.
Which I found I don't know what to believe anymore because we have Jordan Love going on the Up and Adams show there. Mm-hmm. And he says he's definitely a player we need back. When talking about Jair Alexander and just speaking high praise to him. He's got his own world going on, said Love, who's entering, blah, blah. We'll let him handle his business. That's my guy right there.
Yeah.
He wants him back. But I'm almost 99% sure that Goody's sending him off the door. So I guess Goody's just like, I'm going to run this business. I'm not going to really take my players' words into account. But Josh Jacobs, are we not taking his words into account anymore? Because Josh Jacobs went in the offseason said, we need more weapons. I mean, it's you gotta, I don't want to get to the point where we're listening to the players too much, right? Yeah. Because I think that gets into problems. That's my biggest problem with the Bucks. I think we listen to Giannis too much because Giannis has got how many coaches fired when we think it's the coach's fault. Well, at some point, you got to stop listening to the players. Rodgers got all fired up for the longest time. Could he have used weapons? I don't know. Yeah, it depends who you ask. But outside of that, it's one of those problems there. Listening to the players and getting too invested in it. Goody's got to do what he thinks is best for the football team that he's running. Now, is that going to be the best thing for them to move on from Jair Alexander? We've talked about it. I don't know. If he stays healthy, no. Because when he's healthy, he's one of the best in football.
Exactly.
But he's been hurt. Yeah. So if you could get something for him, maybe it's not the worst. Now, I really do think the best you can do for him in a trade package is you're not going to get a pick for this year.
Yeah.
You're going to get
possibly.
A pick for
next year. It might be tough. Yeah.
I think it's going to be next year, and I think it's going to be one of those, okay, if he plays 8 games, it's a 5th-round pick. If he plays 9 games, it's a 4th-round pick. If he plays 11 games, okay, now it's a 3rd-round pick. If he plays every game, okay, now it's a 1st-round pick. It's going to be one of them contingency picks where it's like he's got to play for us for you guys to get a higher draft pick to get that capital. I think that's kind of where it's going to be leaning right now. I mean, in your opinion, Albert, where are we looking right now, Jair Alexander, with this Packers team? Goody says he's out the door. Love wants to keep him. We kind of want to keep him in Green Bay if he's healthy and can play, but at the same time, when's enough? And you just move on from the guy. We just keep throwing him around right now.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Jair Alexander, Goody said it best. He goes, he's on our team right now. Right. And that's normally a clear sign of like, okay, well, we're going to wait to see how the draft plays out. I'm pretty sure their plan is to move him. I know Jordan wants him back because Jordan knows, Jair is a leader on this team. When he's out there, he is loved and liked by all the teammates. It was, even if you hear the beat writers, not a single player came out and was questioning Jair's motives or his motivation or his thought process on why he wasn't playing. Everyone knew that he was doing everything he could to be out there, right? And so I think, you can take your players' input as much as you can, but as a GM, you got to figure out what you think is best for a team. And maybe he's looking at it where, like a lot of times the Packers do, we should get out a year earlier than a year too late, right? And maybe last year was a year too late, even though he was playing pretty darn well until he messed up his knee against Jacksonville. And so, And so For me, I can see him being moved probably during the draft. I'm still holding out hope that he gets moved to Baltimore. I mean, I want him on the team. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if we can keep him and he's happy and not disgruntled and he wants to play, then I think that's the best thing for us and for him. Now, if he wants to be gone, then send him somewhere where he'd want to go and thrive, preferably AFC, and hopefully with the Baltimore Ravens to play with Lamar. It's one of those things where I think Goody can't say too much because he's at a point now with Jair where everybody knows that there's an impasse coming, right? And so people are like, well, we can either give him a 7th or a 6th round pick this year or next year and get him, or we just wait for them to cut him. Because either way, he's going to become available. The question is, are teams going to want to invest any draft capital to get him now and not have to fight for him against other teams in free agency?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it made it worse last year for fans was the fact that we had no depth. There was nobody
100%.
else out there at the quarterback
100%.
room. If you had guys in there who could fill, if you were like, Valentine were way ahead of the 8 ball there, you'd been fine. If you had Nate Hobbs, you probably would have been fine. But you didn't. And you were stuck. Okay, Jair's out. Now what? Right? Keyshawn Nixon gets thrown out there. We're moving guys around. Bullard's getting thrown around. It's like we can't find guys to stay in there consistently. That's a problem, too, is injuries. And injuries did not help. Bullard was out for a bit. Evan Williams got banged up. It was injuries galore in that secondary of that defense. That did not help the situation at all. But the biggest kicker for me, the defensive line, the rush, the pass rush, was absolutely atrocious.
Yep.
If you have a terrible pass rush, your secondary is going to look like garbage. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
You can't, in the NFL today, there is no Revis Island. There is no lockdown corners anymore. There's good corners. They can stick with a guy for a little bit, but you give them 8, 9, 10 seconds to run around out there, they're going to bust open at some point. You look at the Eagles. I know we've talked about before with Cooper DeJean, right? He would have been good wherever he went. He's a great player.
Yeah.
But you put him in Green Bay, I can't say that his impact's as big as what it was in Philadelphia. Why? Philly could drop back 7 because they could rush 4 and get heat. The Packers had to bring 6 or 7 just to get pressure on the quarterback. And not even good pressure at times. Just, I got to step up in the pocket kind of pressure.
Yeah.
That's not pressure. That's where we were talking about PFF a little earlier before we came on here. That's where I hate the PFF and they grade pressures. Because when I look at the pressure score that they give, it's like, no, that's not pressure. Stepping up in the pocket is not pressure. Putting a quarterback in so much distress, he's got to run out of the pocket and bail. That's pressure.
Incomplete passes, interceptions, turnovers, things like that. Like, I completely agree. And
Sam Darnold was never under pressure from the Green Bay Packers this last season. He had to step up in the pocket a few times.
Yeah.
That was it. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, I want Jair back for that fact, but they have something that they got to do first, and that is upgrade the pass rush room. I don't care what you have to do. You have to find somebody out there. I don't know if it's going to be, we bring in a new defensive line coach. Maybe that fixes something.
I think that's what they're thinking. I think
that's what they're hoping. Yeah. I mean, it's a hope, but I think that's also Goody saying, I don't want Lucas Van Ness to be a bust. I don't want this guy to be a bust. I need these guys to work out for my sake, not for everybody else, because we talked about this before too, and we're going to get into the draft here in a minute, but Goody tries to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And for once, he's just got to go into this draft and just say, who is the best dude available at 23?
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do. Not Lucas Van Ness. He looks like Tarzan, but he plays like Jane. He could be this guy, but he's not. He's not yet. Oh, well, he could be. In the first round, I don't want could-be's. I want this dude's a stud. We were lucky to get Edgerrin Cooper in the second round because that dude is a first-round talent that they got in the second round.
He was being mocked in the first round too. Yes. Like he was. Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, Eric
100%.
100% says that a lot. He says the whole like Tarzan looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. And I hate to say that LVN definitely fits that role because that was Goody actually was asked about that today. And it was one of those things where they talked about, he didn't play very much in college. I'm like, okay, that's fine. He's been in the league now for 2 years. And really, he hasn't taken that jump. And you were having some high expectations of that if you're going to take him in a top 15 pick in the first round. And then, of course, he makes the comments today about where first-round picks aren't expected to be immediate contributors. And we had talked about this earlier where I said that is the old way of doing things. That was the way of like the early 2000s. And nowadays, when you're drafting first-round talents, you're not drafting a project. Like you may get a project in the end of the first round, but normally you're drafting a guy in the first 20 picks. you want that guy to have some kind of like contribution coming off the bat. Like, I feel like, when we drafted Jordan Love in the first round, I mean, we had Aaron Rodgers, who was just coming off a new season with a new coach, and then he had an MVP season after that, 2 years after that. But the difference was, though, like, he was a quarterback that needed time to develop, which makes sense. I feel like with other positions on the team, you don't really need that much time to develop, I guess, right? Because being a running back, being an offensive lineman, maybe tight end is one that would require some time. I just feel like I've seen rookie players in all positions, to include quarterbacks, to be able to come in and hit the ground running, right? And I don't feel like it's like you'd mentioned this previously. I don't feel like it's fair to the team or to us as fans where, hey, we're drafting this guy and we think he's going to be good in 3-4 years. Because it's like, okay, that's great. But then if you're not hitting on your drafts before that, guess what? Now you're starting to slip up, and the investments 2-3 years ago, if they're not coming through, now you're really behind the 8 ball. And I know we're going to probably get into that here a little bit more on the draft stuff, because I can't wait to talk about like just like where we're going to go with these next, this draft that's coming up here tomorrow, where like, wow, like, how are they going to attack? Because we don't have positions of need, but we do have positions that do need an infusion of talent.
Yep. No, I would agree. And you mentioned it great there. The reach for talents. When you have the 13th pick in the 2023 draft, you don't go with a guy like you stated there, like Goody stated. Well, he didn't play a lot in college.
Yeah.
Why you draft him with the 13th pick then if he didn't play a lot in college? Exactly. I don't want projects. When I'm picking 13th in the NFL draft, I don't want a project. I want a dude, insert, plug, play. Go get him. And maybe he's not going to be like all-star. He's not going to be like Hall of Famer year one. But I expect him at some point, unless I busted him, unless I got a bust, he's going to end up being that guy.
Yeah.
And that's where I think he's had a problem. And we could go over the years, and there's a lot of problems with the draft so far for him. So we got more to get into. We're going to talk draft when we come back here. Ummer's going to be back here on the backside. We got draft to talk about. So we'll be back here right after this quick break on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back in to Wisconsin Sports on Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back here. It's Wednesday. And hey, I know it's raining outside, but we're going to have sunny weather coming up at some point, hopefully, right? Saturday looks like some sun. We're going to get the weekends here coming up. It's going to be exciting because Marshfield Motor Speedway is just getting underway with the race season here. The half mile paved racetrack there, 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Get down there this summer. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. Nothing better than a great summer day or night down at the track there. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com. Also, if you follow us on Facebook, Wisconsin Sports on the Go Trade, follow us over there. We always share out their posts about the races coming up and everything like that. So make sure you check us out on Facebook there, and we'll help you get down to the racetrack there, because nothing better than a great summer day or night down at the track at Marshfield Motor Speedway there. So we went to the break. We were talking Packers. We were hot and running about random stuff with the Packers here, but we got draft to talk about, because this NFL draft coming up here in Green Bay for the first time ever, right? And the biggest question was, what do you feel the Packers are going to do, right? They have a lot of options. There's a lot of options. 23rd pick. There's a lot of teams who want that 23rd pick. There's a lot of teams who would love to get that. So you're going to stay put. You're going to move up. You're going to move back. What are you going to do? So if you were the Packers, and you're sitting there right now, Brian Gutekunst is sitting probably in his recliner right now. Probably not. He's probably freaking out because he's got to make something happen here in the first round. What are you thinking? Am I fielding phone calls and saying to that? Okay, you're probably fielding them, but if somebody says, let's just say whoever would call, right? Say, hey, I'd really love to move up in the draft. You can move back to 25. I'll move up. Would you field that phone call? Are you moving back in this draft? Are you moving up? What are you thinking right now?
I think Goody answered it really well today, where he said that when it comes to your time to pick, you have two options. And it's sometimes it's kind of like, okay, we have the guy that we want to pick at this pick, or we could trade back, gather more picks, and then hopefully still get that same guy in a later pick, right? And for me personally, I feel like if there's a guy there who I think is going to help me personally, is going to help contribute now, like I'm thinking Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, if he's there, if Derek Harmon is there, if Trey Amos, I would feel like we could trade back and still get him. But my two guys in the first round that I really, really want would be really just Ibuka. I love Ibuka to death. I think he is a Packer player through and through. I think he's an all scholastic player at Ohio State. Also, he is uberly talented. We have yet to see really any receivers coming out of Ohio State fall on their face. Every single one of them has been pretty damn good. And I'm going receiver. And the reason why I'm going receiver, I know that's been a hot topic since Javon Walker in 2001 was the last time we drafted a first round pick for a wide receiver. The reason why is because you have a lot of guys who are pretty good in the wide receiver room, but you don't have if you don't re-sign Watson and you don't re-sign Dobbs, now you're out two players, right? Because with Watson, he's not going to be back until week 12. Dobbs has all the concussion history now, which you don't know what's going to happen with him. So I'm trying to infuse that room with new talent. I do like Ibuka. I love Jaden Higgins, who I have Iowa State. Both guys are uberly talented. Higgins is the Senior Bowl guy. The things that came out about him are just absolutely amazing. High catch rate, just like Ibuka, and just a uberly talented kid. And so right there, those two picks would be okay with. And, of course, Derek Harmon out of Oregon, who would be – I hate to say it. I'm hoping Kenny Clark never leaves Green Bay, and he'll always play in Green Bay. But if we're looking to get more talent on the defense line, if we just lost TJ Slayton, I get a guy like Harmon because he can play. He is one of the best pass rushing defense tackles in this draft.
That is exactly where I was leaning, and I'm glad you finished with that one. I love the wide receiver. I really want to take, and I know they were talking about McMillan there too from
I didn't mention him.
Was he out of Arizona there, or where's he out of?
He's Arizona, and I guess he had a private workout, and supposedly Gutekunst was the only GM there, but I think other guy was there too. He was in for all these guys were in for top 30 visits, and he's considered to be one of the best receivers in the draft. For him to come all the way down to 23, I don't think you can but run up that card.
Yeah.
And smarter people than me, like Brennan Rupp and Ben Fennell and Hayden Winks and all those guys, and Jagur Brian Mafia, all those dudes, they know better than I do about that guy, and they love him to death. They all think he's an amazing talent. So I'm with you. He's a dude that you can't say no to.
The only way I can say no, and this is one way I love Harmon and I love Green too. Mike Green, the edge from Marshall there. Watching his
Mike Green,
he is a bull rusher, and they have him dropping to 27. I saw this one mock draft Tannenbaum did it, I think, and he had him down at 27. I don't know if he's going to drop that far, but if he were to drop that far, I don't know how you say no. I don't know how you pass up on a guy like that, because my thing is I look at these teams and I look at, what makes a defensive line? It's interior out. You got to have the center figured out first, right? And 100%. I look at guys like Aaron Donald, and I look at guys now. You got Jalen Carter for the Eagles out there. Even though I don't like him, he's still a fantastic talent. Chris
100%.
Jones for the Chiefs. They're fantastic, and that's what you need. You got to figure out the inside. Kenny Clark was atrocious last year. I love him. I love him to death, but he just was not it. Devontae Wyatt, according to Gutekunst, he's going to exercise all the options, right? Walker, Devontae Wyatt. I think Devontae Wyatt's got a ton of upside. I don't think he's reached it yet. So hopefully,
healthy guy.
Stay healthy this season. Maybe he can find it. So you're hoping that he's going to be the guy of the future. Kenny Clark, he's probably going to be on his way out, right, at some point here. So we're looking who's going to be the next guy in, right? And that's where I think you bring in a guy like Harmon now, maybe you can fill in that spot. Now, would it be crazy to go with Ibuka there? I don't think so, because you are also looking at, like you said, a banged-up wide receiver room. You don't know what you got. You brought in McCole Hardman. You still don't know what you got.
He's the fourth guy anyways. Yeah, he's not out there getting, starter snaps. Yeah, exactly.
No, exactly. You don't know what you got in the room at all at this point here.
Right,
so, yes, I think you need a target there. If Ibuka comes up in the 23, I don't know how you don't say yes to that. Yeah. Maybe Green Bay gets crazy with it and trades away a lot to get, up into this draft here and double dip somewhere. You could see it happening maybe early into the second round. They could try to jump high, grab a defensive lineman, whatever it is. I don't know. They have, like you said before, they don't have a lot of huge needs, but they have needs. Not huge, but they have spots where they got to fill some holes and fill some holes fast. So, I mean, I completely agree with you there. But yeah, that's the big thing I'm looking at is Kenny Clark's lack of production last season. I think you got to find help in the defensive tackle room because if you have another year like that, I think it's time you got to just, maybe we just got to move on. We got to just get off of Kenny Clark there and kind of move on. And hopefully you have somebody groomed up that you can pull in the backside there instead of just, oh, shoot, now we got to plug a guy. He's been here for a year. He's ready to go. He's been working his way in. And you still got other pieces, other defensive linemen in the room that you can fill around there. I wouldn't hate Harmon. I would not hate Harmon in that spot there. I mean, so, okay, where are you leaning right now? First round. So first round of this draft, where are you leaning? Like, is there a guy where if he dropped, I think it's like, how does the board work? How does the board work is going to depend on where I'm at. Because like I said, if Harmon and Green drop, I don't know how I pass on Green from Marshall there. If he's available at 23, I don't know how I say no. I don't know how.
It's funny you say this. There's a couple things. So with the Mike Green thing, uber talented, was amazed at the Senior Bowl. He has some baggage in his background. I'm not going to go into it because I'm not very well versed in it, but it has been.
That's why he might drop. Let's go. That's why he might drop right? Because of the baggage.
I agree. And something you mentioned about the possibility of trading back. Goody keeps talking about acquiring more picks. It could be subterfuge, right? And the fact that we want to see as many quarterbacks go in the first round. For us personally, right? So if someone wants to trade back into the first round, let's say the Browns, the Saints, the Steelers, somebody wants to trade back up and try to get Jackson Dart, trying to get Shador, then they want to trade with us and they want to give us their first round pick for next year, just like the Saints did to trade up and get Marcus Davenport that year. We got Jair. I'm going to have a hard time saying no to that, right? Yeah. Now that sucks for us because now we got to wait, whatever. But for the thing that you're saying when it came to position, I agree with you. I'm very much leaning towards wide receiver, and it's because of that issue that we're having when it comes to like just the depth in that room. Defensive line, because we did lose a big guy in Slayton, and the corner thing is tricky because we just talked about Jair. If Jair is out the door, then you do need to get another corner in there. The question is like you're not going to get another Jair Alexander. You're going to get a guy that you hope that can turn into Jair Alexander. So me personally. Even though it's like a thing that Packers are supposed to get a receiver every year and they never get a receiver every year, I would lean towards receiver because if you do get McMillan or Mbuka, let's say you don't, right? And let's say you get Higgins later in the first round. There's other guys you can get like Jalen Royal out of Utah State, second and third round, who also could still fill that need.
Yeah, and the thing with the Packers is they run a lot of zone. There's a lot of zone.
Yeah.
You could just get me a lot of cornerbacks that are fast and can keep up with guys and can cover a spot. And I could live with that. So that's where I don't know if I want to use the 23rd pick for like we talked before, you don't have lockdown corners anymore. I'm not going after a lockdown corner at this point. I don't need, I have Nate Hobbs. I still have Jair Alexander in the fold. Mm-hmm. And you think Keyshawn Nixon is going to develop into something, Valentine, whatever you got there. Yeah. I'm kind of looking at the draft and saying I could go and get cornerbacks. I can get a plethora of them later in the draft, I should say.
Those guys are out there. And it's funny you say that too. Like Hafley coming in, he was a man zone. He's a man dude. He was man press, and he just was all about blitzing and man press. And I feel like because what you had said previously about the pass rush being so bad, I felt like he had to play more zone than he wanted to compensate for the lack of pass rush. So you're right. Like if they do get, like you've been saying, they get a Derek Harmon, they get a Mike Green, they get someone on that defensive line, Nick Scroton, they get one of those guys that can really apply pressure, then you don't have to play so much zone, right? You can play, man. You can be a little more aggressive on the back end. And you can do that with the guys we have right now because us signed Nate Hobbs, we got him and we paid him in a way where he could play literally inside or outside, right? And, Keyshawn, he said that he's going to be a CB1, right? And then you got Carrington Valentine on the other side too. So I'm with you. Like, corner to me, like there's guys like Maxwell Harrison and Trey Amos who are probably considered to be first round picks. But me personally, I want to go. I'm like you want to build the trenches, and honestly, the talent that are coming out from a receiver perspective, I can see us doing it, and we already know it's not going to happen. And my heart's going to be broken when we see Mbuka out there at 23 and we don't pick him. It's going to break my heart, just like last year with Jackson Smith.
Yep. No difference. Well, and another guy too, Kalen King. in that section.
Yeah,
I loved him. I think
pick.
he's still got a lot of potential. And I
Yeah.
watched him last year. He's on the practice squad for a while, right? But I remember seeing him in camp and everything like that. I'm watching him like, this guy's got some upside. Like, I love this guy. And they brought him up off the practice squad for a little bit. I'm like, I hope I see him because the secondary is stinking right now. And we never saw him out there. But I like you mentioned that. I mean, we have guys in the room, and that's where I'm leaning with the cornerback room. I'm like, just go get me some guys who can run around. Just go get me some runners. That's all I need. I don't need lockdown dudes. I have Valentine, who I think can be good. I have Keyshawn Nixon, who I think is good. He's good enough, right? He's not a lockdown corner, but he's good enough. If you're gonna play zone, you need just fast guys who can cover spot. If you're gonna play man, you can still get away with that kind of thing there too. So, and you got Nate Hobbs in the room now too. So I'm just at that point where I'm like, I want to, like you said, build the trenches. Where do you win football games? In the trenches. Defensive line, you got to get pressure. That's where I'm looking at the defensive tackle, and I'm like, okay. In the run game, you need this guy. In the pass rush, you need this guy. Where do you not need him? You need him all the time. Okay, this is a spot we need consistently out on the football field. That's where I'm looking right now. I think in the linebacker room, I mean, you can add depth, right? I'm not hating on depth. But you have Edgerrin Cooper. You have Quay Walker, who I think did take a step last year. I just think he was banged up and never got back to it. I think if you let Edgerrin Cooper run the mic, you let him be green dot, and you let Quay Walker just be off the ball, this off-ball guy,
blitzing and doing whatnot.
Blitzing and doing his stuff. Because the problem with Quay Walker is I think you put too much on his plate. I just think he gets overwhelmed and he blows past plays. And when you watch him, it's like he's there. He just blows past the play. He can get there. It's just he blows past the play. He can't get off a block. He has those kind of issues. I think he needs some work, yes. But I'm not giving up on Quay Walker yet. He's still got I think he's still got a ton of upside. I just think he's not a number one guy. We were expecting him to be a number one guy. He's not a number one guy. Edgerrin Cooper, that's a number one guy. Yeah. And we got that guy now. So you are fine in that room. I think you need to find some edge. I think you need to find some help up the middle. That's where I'm looking right now with this Green Bay Packer team. And I agree with you. The wide receiver room definitely kind of scares me out there. So I'm looking, like you said, you want defensive line, edge rush, you need wide receivers. Those are the position groups where I'm like, that is where I need to look right off the bat. First round, second round, maybe even third round. Fourth round, fifth round, that's where I'm going, hey, what cornerbacks available?
Yeah.
What cornerbacks are still available? And then I'm just going boom, 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 corners all day long. That's where I'm looking right now because you know where the Packers need wide receiver, edge, cornerback.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, the guy that you think about later in the draft, two things. So Jason Marshall out of Florida is like considered to be a 6th or 7th round pick who's really talented, who's someone that we can get late. There's a kid out of Tulane also. I forgot his name right now. I'm drawing a blank on him. But he's another great talented player who I think it's Caleb Rakeshaw. But there's guys that are out there you can get later in the draft. And let's not forget, Isaiah Simmons, former 7th overall pick out of Clemson, was in a 7th overall pick in that draft. He was in for a visit 2 days ago or last week. Didn't get signed yet. And I think like you get a guy like him who's about 238 pounds, runs a 4.39, and he could be your hybrid safety linebacker that, you know what I'm saying, that was a position that was there that went away. Yep. And he could be a guy that could come in and play in the chip in the linebacker position. And then you could also have as almost like a run stopper when it comes to like a in the box safety. And so that's another consideration too, right? If they do sign him, which I think they haven't yet, so I'm kind of wondering what's going on there with that.
Probably wait and see what happens in the draft, who they grab in there. And I mean, Rashawn Gary, a lot of hate last year, but you bring in a guy like Green there to play the opposite side than Rashawn Gary, you make it hard on a pass rusher to get himself open when he has to be double teamed every time he gets off the ball. You bring in a guy like Green, that's going to level out that line. And maybe you add in the trenches up the middle, right? That's going to level out that line completely. And then you are going to find holes for Rashawn Gary. You're going to find holes for DeMonte Wyatt. Maybe that helps Kenny Clark. Yeah. Maybe that helps him out. Maybe that makes his job a lot easier, bringing in a guy like Green. So that's why I'm like, you got to find a pass rusher in some way, shape, or form. Maybe TJ Watt, right? He's kind of upset with Steelers. Maybe
I saw that.
You want to make Packer fans happy. You want to make Wisconsin fans happy. Send the 23rd pick to the Steelers for TJ Watt.
I heard you have the best odds. Odds to get him.
Packer fans would be perfectly okay if you got rid of the 23rd pick and you said TJ Watt is on his way to Green Bay.
Oh,
see ya.
You talk about all the Trey Hendrickson like stuff, and then you bring in TJ Watt instead. Oh God, yeah. You
can have the first 3 rounds of picks, Pittsburgh. You can have all 3 first rounds. You can have them all.
Draft day.
draft day. Yeah, we need Kevin Costner on here to start yelling at him.
Sonny. I just saw the last week too.
Oh, that movie is fantastic.
I love
Draft
it.
Day.
I know people hate on it.
Fantastic.
I love it to death, man. It's
Fantastic. It's a great movie. So, hey, we got a quick break here. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap it up here with the Packer Talk here. Elmer's got to get out of here. We're going to do a quick wrap up here, hit the top of the hour. We got all kinds of stuff to get to today yet here, so we can't talk Packer the whole time. I know, I'm sorry. But we got a little more Packer Talk when we come back here. So we'll be right back on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back. It's Wednesday. And hey, if you have been injured recently, whether you were working or you were around the farm, maybe you were perusing the streets of Green Bay and ready for the draft. I don't know what you were doing, but you got injured. You need some physical therapy. Go in there, see Chad at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin there. Expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations. Just call 715-267-4583. That is 715-267-4583. See Chad. He's the best in the business, and he'll get you right. He'll get you back doing whatever you were doing, feeling better than ever and ready for the NFL draft. That's all you need. Sport and Spine Clinic there in Greenwood, Wisconsin. So, hey, we went to the break. We were talking Packers. We got a little more into the draft, right? We were hot and running in the first part. We had no idea what we were talking about. We got to the draft a little bit. Now we're going to wrap it up here with this little draft talk here with Ummer here. So we were talking about, the defensive line needs and everything like that heading into this one. I want to flip sides. I want to look over at the offensive line because Josh Myers is gone.
Yep.
So the talk is Elton Jenkins moves over. That's going to solve the problems. Well, I don't know in my mind if that solves the problem. I love Elton Jenkins at guard.
Yeah, I got
so, the Packers did this thing at one point. They took Myers. They replaced Corey Linsley at one point. So they took Myers, they plug and play basically. Myers was put in a little too early in most, like your opinion, my opinion, is put in a little too early. But hey, they did what they did. Myers ended up being solid. He wasn't great. He was never great, but he was solid. He was a good center. So do we see the Packers potentially drafting a center, saying, hey, maybe a guard that they like that can move to center? They has that potential. Do we see the Packers kind of maybe leaning in that direction, in your opinion? Or do we just move Jenkins over and just say, screw it? Like, where are we at right now? What would you do if you were in Brian Gutekunst's shoes?
I would let Elton Jenkins and Jacob Monk compete for center. Also Sean Ryan, because Sean Ryan did take snaps at center as well too, right? And then I would still look at the kid out of, I think he's Ohio State, Seth McLaughlin. And then you have Jared Wilson out of Georgia. Both tested extremely well within the Packer thresholds. Both were anchors for their offensive lines for prospective teams. And I think getting a rookie in there to compete with those three would be smart, because Elton, like you said, he's the one dude. He's kind of like Zach Tom. He could play anywhere on the offensive line, but he's a proven all-pro guard, right? Multiple years. He also, his natural position in college was center, but he's proven that he can play anywhere. And when you have a guy like that who is that talented, you really don't want to take him away from his strong suit. But then again, though, he hasn't had enough snaps at center consistently to, game to game to game to know or not know if he's even a better center, right? So I take a chance there. I see how it goes in training camp. I still give Jacob Monk, because his natural position when he was at Duke was Duke, right? Was center. And, he was the one that played right next to Graham Barton. And Graham Barton had a lot of great things to say about him. The Graham Barton was a first-round pick, and I think Monk was a fifth-round pick or fourth-round pick, right? Fifth.
I was just trying to check here quick. What year was he drafted, Monk?
Last year. He was a rookie last year, yeah.
Last year there. That's right. Let's see here. Out of Duke, he was in the fifth round.
Fifth round, yeah. So, again, Corey Linsley was also a fifth-round pick out of Ohio State. So I'm saying, you can get amazing offensive linemen, especially interior offensive linemen in the later rounds. Packers have done really well with that. And I think, right now, we have enough pieces there to compete with guys that are already on the team. And I would still add somebody from the draft. I just don't think I think every year you should be taking positions. You should be taking offensive lineman. You should be taking defensive lineman, wide receiver. I feel like those are even running back, there's the kid out of Virginia Tech. If he's still there in the 6th, 7th round, I grab him. I know Marshawn Lloyd is the guy we're banking on being the breakaway dude. I still like Emmanuel Wilson Sr. I think he's amazing. I think he's for an undrafted free agent. He has a lot of talent. He has a lot of juice. But back to offensive line, I think the most important thing is keeping Jordan Love upright. And I think that interior, or I'll beg to differ with you when it comes to Josh Myers being a good center. I'd say he was an average center, right?
Yeah, he was solid. He was solid. He wasn't good. He was solid.
I'll say solid in quotations because I think the problem I always have is you have Creed Humphrey who got drafted right after him, and he's an all-pro center, right? And you're like, why didn't Josh turn to that? And you know what? There's a lot of reasons for why that didn't occur. But I'll give him his credit last year. He was dealing with his father passing away, as well as he played through a partially torn pec the whole year. I think since week 5. So you know what? You're right. He is a solid center. He's a good center. Why? Because he was a warrior out there. I mean, he was out there playing when, a lot of guys were probably said the hell with him. I'm not going to go out there, play bad, and make myself look bad. He knew that he was needed. So I respect that. But definitely think that in the draft, there are players out there we can grab to help kind of, again, infuse more talent on that line, because we need to do everything we can to keep Jordan upright, because the healthier he is, the better our team is.
Yep, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to stay mobile, because if he's not mobile, that's half of him.
100%.
Say about 100%. Half of a quarterback at that point.
Yes.
There. And yeah, I mean, I agree. The attributes of Josh Myers, not all there, but he was durable. He was there. He was always there. And he gave you solid effort, right? It was solid effort. It was like good Mexican food that doesn't flow right through you. It was like that kind of, effort from Josh Myers. So anyways, off of the Mexican food.
Can't go wrong with Mexican. You can't go wrong with Mexican food.
You can. Authentic Mexican, you can go wrong with, though. The off-brand stuff doesn't really hurt you. Authentic Mexican food, like
get you going.
That's not good. That's not good. That's Taco Bell is not as bad, but when you get that real stuff,
it hits.
Good.
It hits.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Like, I can eat all day long, but the problem is, the porta potties at work are not that good. They are absolutely not that good. So anyways, off of the bowel movements that are going on right now, let's hope that Goody does not have another bowel movement here in the first round. Does Gutekunst, this first round, right? Because this first round picks, I mean, last season, Jordan Morgan, the book is still unwritten, right? But we look at the rest of these first round picks. 2018, Jay Alexander. 2019, Rashawn Gary. Then you had Darnell Savage. Yeah, that's not working well, right? That was both in 2019 there. Jordan Love in 2020, had Eric Stokes there in 2021. 2022, he double dipped with Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt. Both them, we don't know, right? And then Lucas Van Ness, that is definitely a book that we're hoping is not I don't even
not
know.
written.
We're hoping that somebody is still going to pick the pen up and write that book, but I don't know if that pen's going to get picked up there. So, I mean, we look at the first round picks, and you want to talk about why people have problems believing in Gutekunst. Because outside of maybe Jay Alexander, Rashawn Gary took a while to come on, and yet he got injured, and now we don't know. Darnell Savage is gone, right? Jordan Love, that's you got to exclude Jordan Love because that's your franchise quarterback. But outside of Jordan Love, Eric Stokes got hurt, bust. Quay Walker, you're hoping he can find a way. Devontae Wyatt, we're hoping, right? I think he can be a guy, but he gets banged up all the time. And then Lucas Van Ness ain't there yet.
Yeah.
Does this first round for Goody have to hit? Like this 23rd pick. I think for me, it has to. It has to. I think Gutekunst right now has got to be drafted. You don't want to say for his life, but at the same time, you want to say his life because at some point here, he's got to hit with the pick. Because when you have the 23rd pick in the draft, you got to find something eventually.
Yeah.
And he hasn't found it yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in your opinion, does he got to hit in this first round?
I think so. Like, I think the Jordan Morgan pick is the one where you really didn't see what he was about because he was banged up. Unfortunately, he came in with a lot of injury history too, so I wasn't a big fan of that, to be honest with you. And so I feel like his first round picks have been very much more missed than hit. And this is one of those times where you have Mark Murphy's last year. He's retiring, mandatory retirement come June, July, and then you got Ed Policy taking over, right? New president. I don't see him firing Goody. I'm not saying Goody's on the hot seat by any means, but he needs to start making picks that we can see some kind of like contribution off the bat. I know that may not be realistic. I know that that's not how NFL and GMs work all the time, whatever the case may be. But truth be told, we see with other teams, and maybe that's not fair measuring stick, but guys that do get drafted in the first round tend to be more contributing faster than our first round picks have lately,
Yep.
And, I just feel like this is his time to really, he made a comment at the end of the season about urgency by both, probably he just said that the team needs to show more urgency, right? That could have been for the coaches, that could have been for the players, that could have been for him, who knows? But I feel like, it gets to a point to when you're missing more than you're hitting on your first round picks as a GM, that does start becoming your reputation. John Snyder had that for a very long time, where his first round picks were garbage, but his later round picks got really good. And then recently his first round picks have gotten better. Right. And so maybe this is the year that Goody figures it out. I'm hoping so.
Otherwise, I mean, you get to a point. I agree. And, you look at some of the later round picks for Goody there, and they're good. I mean, Zach Tom, he was drafted way back in the 4th round. I mean, you have guys who were drafted late that have done well for the Packers here, but it's those early picks. And it comes to the point of, why are you so hesitant to trade them away then?
Yeah.
Why? The Packers are so, where we got this like death grip on these picks. We got to hold on to. We can't get rid of this pick. We can't get rid of that one. Why are you so hesitant in free agency? Why are you so hesitant to make trades when you go into a draft and your first round picks are just flops anyways? Why? Then I would rather, if I was me as a Packer fan right now, I'm looking at it like this. If our first round picks are going to continuously be flops, I want to see Gutekunst do something with the first round pick and trade.
100%.
Find me somebody else. Find me a guy who's proven, ready to go right now. I don't understand why we waste time then. I love the fact that he's given the effort, right? And he finds guys that he likes and, guys that he thinks are going to fit the culture and the system. I like that. I like culture and system guys. I love that. But at the same time, you got to find guys who are also good, proven.
Yeah.
Been there, done. First round's proven. First round of proven guys. 5th round guys, that's where I'm going with this guy could be something, right? Yep. Lucas Van Ness is turning out to be like a 5th round talent at this point.
I mean,
maybe just a 5th round talent. I don't even know if he's a 5th round talent.
It's like AJ Hawk, man. AJ Hawk was a 5th overall pick that year in the draft. And he was a good player. He was not a 5th overall pick player, but he's still a lean tackler, right? And on top of that too, he never missed any games. He was always there. He was always available. But you're right, though. At the end of the day, when you're drafting somebody in the first round, it's kind of like we waited on Jordan Love, and the wait was worth it, right? I know last year was banged up, but the truth was he waited 3 years, 4 years, and he came in and hit the ground running, right? I feel like this is the year where, I mean, if Goody trades out of that pick, I hope he can still stay in the first round. But I'm with you, man. A part of me is there's only so much defending I can do. Because sometimes you do wonder about that whole, I'm the smartest guy in the room, so I know all the answers, right? It's like what they used to say about Sean McVay. We're like, oh, he's the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him. He's like, right? And Goody, I mean, I'm not in that draft room, right? We don't really know anything that's going on. But sometimes when you do see some of these picks, you're kind of they're not the consensus picks that, you see Howie Roseman do, which I get, he's kind of set the standard right now. But I feel like as fans, we're seeing picks. We're like, yo, why are you getting this guy when you can have this guy? And hindsight's 2020. And, but I'm with you, bro. Part of me is I need him to – I would love for him to get a guy that I want. That would be amazing. Quay was a guy I wanted. Devontae White was not. And I have this thing where every guy that I didn't want did turn out to be really good, which happened with Gary until he got hurt. He was really good, right?
Yep.
I wanted Savage. He didn't turn out to be that great. He had some moments, so don't get me wrong. Jordan Love I did not want, and he turned out to be great. And then, I wanted Stokes. He was good until he got hurt. And so, this is I feel like there's something with that. I don't know. So, right now, I'm just holding my breath and hoping that he grabs one of the guys that we want tomorrow. I really look forward to that.
I was going to say, even a guy like Jordan Love was a reach because he's coming out of Utah State. Who is this guy? He throws a lot of it.
His last year wasn't that
good.
What
are you doing? Yep. What is this pick? You could have gotten so many. And it turned out good. Don't get me wrong, it turned out good. But it's what are you doing? And in this draft, like you said earlier, you have a lot of guys. You have good talent. Mm-hmm. Now it's about getting the best guys available.
Yep.
When you have the positions kind of filled, now it's who's the best guy on your board right now. Not a reach. I don't want to reach. I don't need a center in the first round. I don't need a guard in the first round. We have an offensive line that's somewhat figured out. Go get me a receiver. Go get me a defensive lineman. That's where you got to be looking in that first round. So that's kind of where we're kind of leaning right now. It sounds like you're in the wide receiver. I'm in the defensive line. Best guy available. That's what we want.
100%.
Best darn guy available. And if you can find a move and you want to make some moves and maybe trade up in the draft, whatever it is, go get me TJ Watt. I'm all in for it. I'm all in for it there. So, hey, we'll see. Like you said, tomorrow, I am excited. I can't wait. The draft's in Green Bay. It's going to be exciting. We are ecstatic. So, hey, Umar, it's been fantastic. We hope to get you back. We'll get you back here next week.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
And then you and I, we're going to talk about this, whatever. We could be freaking out. We could be yelling. We could be screaming.
Pants off, pants on. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, maybe I went and got some bad Mexican food, and now I'm sitting on the toilet. I have no idea what's going to be happening in that show here. That's all I know. That's all I know there. And, hey, make sure you guys are sticking. We're going to have an exciting news here. Umar, he works with Coast to Coast Packers. I'm going to be going on there with him, so that's going to be exciting. So stay tuned for that. We'll have more exciting news there. So, Umar, it's been fantastic. We'll catch you back here next week. But, hey, guys, back on the backside of this break, top of the hour, Kyle is going to be joining us. We're going to talk Bucks because the Bucks Pacers, this series continues. We're going to be talking about that. We got Rajiv coming on later here. We're going to be talking Badgers. So we got a whole mess of stuff here in the second hour of the show. So make sure you're coming back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back here on this April 23rd. And hey, this next segment here with Scary is brought to you by Sport and Spine Clinic of Greenwood, Wisconsin. Their expert traditional physical therapy and structural integration programming. Call for flexible scheduling and evaluations. Just call 715-267-4583. That is 715-267-4583. See, Chad, I would not trust anyone else with your physical therapy needs than Chad down there at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin there. So, hey, we went to the break. I told you Scary was coming on here. We had to talk Badgers tonight. Rajiv, he got tied up at work. I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I got my boy Scary over here. He's going to come out. We're going to talk about everything that had to do with that spring showcase and an important topic that Scary had a good video on that I wanted to get to. So, Scary, how are we doing on this Wednesday?
Good. I'm doing better when I found out that there's a Milwaukee Bucks guy you're going to talk to after this, so we don't have to deal with it. But yeah, happy to talk Badger football and take it away.
Yeah, I mean, goodness, we talked about the Bucks. We were talking about the Bucks at the break there with you and me, and I mean that was disturbing. That first two games disturbing, but like you made me feel better. They got two more games back at home. It's going to be okay. It's just all going to be okay.
Bucks are going to run the Pacers out of the gym in Game 3. I'm telling you that right now.
I am hoping so because I just like we were talking. There's just so many guys to dislike on the Pacers. I mean, between Halliburton and Nembhard, and I just there's so many guys disliked there. It's unreal. Yeah. But hey, you got a new podcast or not new podcast. You have a great podcast out there, but a new pod that you just dropped over there about the Badgers in 2025. We kind of touched on this last week. But you said you're talking about in this show, and I don't want to give away everything you had to say in there because I want people to go check that out. And you have a fantastic page over there on YouTube there, Scary Alvarez. But you said which win would mean the most, right? And you had Alabama, the Iowa game, Ohio State, at Oregon, at Minnesota. Which win would mean the most? And I wanted, you don't have to give me the whole thing because, goodness, I want people to check that out because I found it very interesting listening to all your opinions on each different side there. But which one of those, in your opinion, would be that big win for this Wisconsin Badger team?
Yeah, that's a good question. And again, I want the caveat is not that they're only going to win one and then they're going to lose the other four. So I think some people kind of misunderstood. I think if you win a game like Ohio State, who will almost certainly be a top 5, top 10 team coming into that game at Camp Randall, it probably means that you're of a level and quality that you're going to win some other games like Minnesota. And you know what I mean? So I took Ohio State. I'm going to give you a full disclosure there. And, the reason it's kind of it's a many-tiered reason. One of them is that's going to be the best team we're going to play next season. So you're getting the most for your win. Haven't beat them 15 years, and that was supposed to be kind of a rivalry, and it never turned into one. We had a couple OT games when Urban was there, but it just never turned into it. But the thing that kind of is the icing on top is that the whole Fickle thing. Okay, this is a Buckeye in his DNA. Grows up as a wrestler, football player in Ohio, goes to his dream school, plays defensive line for Ohio State, all Big Ten, ends up coaching there as an assistant, coaches there as a head coach, goes back to an assistant. So this is it sounds like I'm trying to be like sadistic or something, but like it would be, you'll hear this from anyone who leaves. Like if Jim Leonard left Wisconsin and went and coached somewhere else and they beat Wisconsin, I can tell you that's going to be his biggest win. That's going to be the one that's going to be the most satisfying to him. Beating Ohio State would be Luke Fickell's most satisfying possible win that he could ever have. Not that he couldn't have a higher level win, but as far as the teams he's playing next season, that would be a huge one. And it would mean so much for the program, the morale, the recruiting, the vibes inside the locker room. So not shockingly, I said Ohio State. I did say Minnesota was kind of in others receiving votes there, only because it's a high floor kind of like if you lose that game, it's devastation. That's 4 to 5 years to PJ Fleck. You cannot lose the Minnesota game. So the kind of like, the gamblers, Minimax principles of games theory is you make sure the worst case scenario is avoided. And that would be a way to avoid the worst case scenario. But I'm going to shoot for the fence, shoot for the moon here and say Ohio State. That would be a program changing win for the Badgers.
Yes. No, I would agree. Even Alabama, Oregon, like those three teams right there, that'd be program changing. I think sustaining, like for me, program sustaining, I don't know if it sounds weird, but sustaining it, Iowa and Minnesota. Like those are two that I feel like you have to have one of two at least, if not both. Because then I feel like the program is floating. Right now, I feel like, after last season, watching them play Iowa and get just completely ran out of the building, watching them play Minnesota and it was disgusting. I just feel like the boat's sinking. And I just want to see it come back and just kind of settle in, float it out, right? Because, when we had Paul Chryst, I'm not going to say Paul Chryst is better than Luke Fickell. I don't want to get into that, discussion right now or anything like that. But when Paul Chryst was there, it was like, okay, you got 9 wins. You go play Ohio State, get wrecked. And then you go to the Big Ten championship game, you get wrecked there. And then you end up in the Rose Bowl, right? It was consistency of that. Now it's like, where are we? Are we sinking? Are we floating? I don't know where this program's at. So I guess that's kind of where I'm at. I just want a sustainable win. I guess, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's I feel like it's even more than sustainable. I think Luke Fickell, and I will say he's had some headwinds that Paul Chryst never had.
Yes.
Chryst would have jumped off a cliff having to do with NIL and the transfer portal. I'm telling you, he did not have it in his DNA when it does. Fickell has to deal with both of these things in the worst possible time for both of them in the history of college football. Granted, they're recent events, but NIL at least is. But people say I'm a Fick explainer and I'm fluff and Fick and all that. So I got to be careful how I speak there. I'm not. I am dually critical of Luke Fickell and some of the mistakes he's made, starting with his offensive coordinator choice in 2023. But his headwinds, including the schedule, there was no schedule like this that Paul Chryst sniffed. There was not a schedule in any of the years that Paul Chryst nor Brett Bielema were coaching Wisconsin where you had this kind of schedule that Fickell has in 2025. Nothing close. In fact, people the sands of time, and I like Bielema. I've come around. He did a really good job at Wisconsin in a lot of ways. He benefited from a tremendous number of things schedule-wise, like probation for Penn State and Ohio State, where it slides you into a Rose Bowl you otherwise wouldn't have been. And there were all kinds of things that, he was able to benefit from, and people forget about. Brett Bielema coaching with this schedule that Wisconsin has this year, that wasn't going to go to the Rose Bowl. I'm telling you that. Maybe 2010. I mean, that 2010 team was pretty special, but they kind of squeaked in there. Even with Watt and some of those other guys. And so I have a little bit of grace for Fickell. And I getting back to your point, yeah, they have to. They have to win. They have to win at a minimum. Let's forget about Ohio State for a minute, and Oregon for a minute, and Bama for a minute. Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota. Those are their 3 sort of like regular real world games that they have to, pay attention to. You got to win 2 of those 3. You don't win 2 of those 3. I'm telling you, the season will have been a disaster. Because if you can't win 2 of those 3, you weren't going to be beating Oregon and Eugene. You weren't going to be beating Bama in Tuscaloosa. You were not going to be sniffing Ohio. You might be sniffing Ohio State. They're jocks when they're sitting on your head in that game. Wow, that got weird. It's where we go. It's late. It's late. If I
is.
slept,
Yep.
I'd be asleep. But to get to your point, Craig, there's a lot of ways this can go, and I just want a left tackle who can protect the quarterback to give us a chance. And let's see what happens. But there's some things I'm seeing and smelling in camp that I like. There's some things about this team that I feel better about than last year's. I can say that.
Yeah. And so my question would be, okay, so we know that Illinois, Minnesota, and Iowa, those are defining wins. Let's just hypothetical terrible world, right? Terrible world. We have a season like last year where you lose to Minnesota. It's disgusting. Iowa blows you out. You lose to Illinois. Maybe you play close with Oregon, but they beat you again. Are you at the point where Luke Fickell is now on a hot seat? I just feel like at some point, I know it's hard to turn over a program and what he had to work with and everything like that. But at some point, it just feels like that excuse has got to go away because now this is Luke Fickell's team. These are Luke Fickell's guys. We have to get off this is Paul Chryst' fault. We have to get on now Luke Fickell has to coach this team and get a win. Now he has to beat one of these teams and prove that he belongs with the big dogs in the Big Ten. I mean, where are you at right now with that kind of statement?
Yeah, all things equal. I mean, there was a season he could have that maybe for other coaches in other third-year situations might not be good enough to have them continue. I'm telling you, with his contract right now, that makes things significantly more difficult to buy him out. Unless you think he's going to get another big-time job that's going to pay a lot of money, that's going to offset that money. Yeah, I don't know. But that all said, I'm not in the fire fit camp. I think the team has to have a different feel this season than it had last season. So I'm very much of the opinion if this team goes 4-8, but they play hard and they look good, and you see young guys, like the edge rusher from Gainesville coming in and showing some stuff, and Agard's playing, and you have these guys that Fick recruited making strides like Kevin Haywood certainly would have. You start to see the vision. Even if so, I'm a little bit. I think I'm probably in the minority here with Wisconsin fans, but I don't think there's a win number they need to reach if they look the right way. Now, look, if you win 1 or 2 or 3 games, you didn't look the right way. There's no way you can win 2 or 3 games and have been competitive in enough games where you're showing enough where I'd feel good about it. But what I'm saying is they win 4 games and they're dropping a touchdown game to Oregon and dropping a touchdown game to Ohio State and losing late at Bama and things like that, and you're taking care of your rivals. I think it could still be kind of in quotes a successful season, but I fully expect Luke Fickell to be back in 2026. He'll be back with, in my opinion, a significantly more talented, more system sound team in his system, having Grimes coming back for his second year with a significantly easier schedule. I mean, I'm sorry, the 2020, it's not easy, but a 26 schedule is reasonable.
No, and I agree. And that's kind of where I'm at too. I would completely agree with you. This season, it's hard to look wins and losses. It's got to look good in between. And I think the biggest thing for me is you got to make it look good for the recruits. You got to make it look good for transfers to say, hey, I want to go to Madison because they're building something. There's something there. Right now, if I'm a recruit out there or a transfer and I'm looking at the badges, I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's the place, the destination for me right now, because right now, like I said before, I don't know if they're floating. Are they sinking? Where are they at right now? Luke Fickell's kind of he's a good guy, whatever, but it just doesn't seem like the place for me. There's so many other programs out there. I might have better luck there. I just want, like you were talking, like I'm saying there, I just want this team to show that sustainability where recruits, transfers, whatever it is, they look at this team and they say, hey, 2026 schedule is going to look a lot easier. I want to go there. I want to play in some big time games. I think a season like this too, right? That shows a lot of big time games. That gets a lot of big time recruits. I mean, is that right?
It does. And you also got to remember with some of these 4-star kids, I won't say 5-star because we don't get them, but like I don't want to say they don't want the team to be successful their senior year in high school, but part of the vision you're selling is, hey, maybe you can get some early playing time. You're probably not going to get that at Ohio State, or you just aren't. I mean, if you're, yes, if you're a all-world wide receiver, you're going to play your freshman year. I get all that, but so you can sell that. But I will say, if they don't look good, let's say you got a bunch of big-time recruits at that Ohio State game in Madison. I believe it's in October. For this big game, and you go and lay an egg and you lose by 30, it's going to be hard to sell the vision to those kids. It wasn't hard to sell the vision against Oregon last year. You had a bunch of kids at that game, and they felt something. They felt you're going to be the number one team in the country, with the number one seed in the playoff. They almost did it. They probably should have. If they would have ran the damn ball, they probably would have. If Jeff Grimes would have been the offensive coordinator in that game, they would have won the game.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty confident. I know we're kind of getting down to time here. I see that I'm on the clock here. You got another great guest about to come on. But hey, Trey, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And keep the faith. We'll see what happens. I would like the Badgers, though, I will say I would like them to land at least a serviceable rotation left tackle in the portal. They just got outbid by Cincinnati and some millionaire there for the top left tackle a couple days ago, which was not fun to see. But we'll be okay. There's going to be plenty of time to worry about this team in the fall. Don't worry about it now. That's my advice. Worry about the Bucks.
Well, I don't know if I want to worry about the Bucks. I don't know if I can stomach the Bucks. That's why talking Badgers right now is better than the Bucks. I'd rather worry about what could go wrong with the Badgers than what is going wrong with the Bucks right now. So, hey, Scary, love having you on tonight. Maybe next week we'll have you back. We'll see what happens with your schedule with ours here. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get you on. We'll talk spring showcase and everything like that. But as always,
sounds good. Yeah. Hey, great to have you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you very much for coming on. Hey, guys, we'll be back here at the top next. We're going to hit a break. We're going to come back. We got Kyle coming on. We're going to talk Bucks because, like Scary said, like I've been saying, it's been, not great. But, hey, there's a couple more games left. We'll see what Giannis and Dame can do. Dame was rusty. We'll see what happens. So, hey, we'll be back here right after this quick commercial break. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back after that great last segment there with Scary Alvarez. If you missed it, make sure you check it out on the podcast platforms. If you missed any part of the show tonight here, we had Umar on earlier talking Packers. We have, Scary was on. We got Kyle coming on now. You can listen to Kyle again later. Of course you can. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts, you can find us there. You can also find us Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. Just find us Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok. Search Wisco Sports on the Go. If you want to find us on Facebook and YouTube, search Wisco Sports on the Go with Trage. That's Wisco Sports on the Go with Trage out there. Follow, subscribe, like us. That makes us feel great inside. So, hey, Kyle, how we doing? It's Wednesday. We're back here. Bucks are, it sucks. Everything sucks. But how are you doing tonight here?
I'm doing well. The playoffs have been interesting, I would say. Some series have been probably more entertaining than others, but I think on the whole, not a bad start to the postseason for the NBA.
And the Celtics are winning, so Kyle's fine. Like the Celtics,
yes,
they're doing just fine, so Kyle's fine. If they were an 0-2 hole, Kyle would be freaking out right now, right? Kyle would be freaking out. So, hey, this next segment I got with Kyle here, it's brought to you by Marshfield Motor Speedway, the half-mile paved track just 3 miles west of Marshfield on County Road H. Find upcoming events and races at marshfieldspeedway.com. That is marshfieldspeedway.com there. So, Kyle, before we get going, you are my honorary guest all the time for the Mellow Yellow Minute. So, if you got your favorite beverage sitting next to you, I always got my Mellow Yellow. You got to crack that baby right now. You got to get it ready to go. And we got our question of the day. Kyle, you came up with the question. I had to break. I said, Kyle, what do you think? What do you want to guess about Trage? We're going to do top 3 favorite sports movies. So, Kyle, take her away. What is Trage? One of Trage's top 3 sports movies?
So I feel like there's probably a baseball movie in your top 3. But now it's like, where do I go with this? So I'm just going to say, let's go Bull Durham.
Bull Durham. That's a good movie. That is a good movie. It does not make top 3.
Okay. Just
it is. Okay, I'll give you one of them. It is a baseball movie.
Okay.
It's is a Brewer legend is in the baseball movie.
Okay. Super legend.
Just a bit outside.
Of course. Why wouldn't I have guessed that first? Yeah, Major League, because Major League's everybody's favorite. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Major League. Bam. But I do like the second one too, because that Mishihiro Tanaka, he is hilarious in there. I love him in there. So that is on the list. That is number 2 on that list there. What do we got? You got one more? Okay, the next one, it'll be a football movie. It is a
I was thinking
movie.
it had to be a football movie.
And it is similar to this time of year. The movie is subject to this time of year.
Oh, okay. So with that, I'm assuming. Oh, wait. Yeah. Because for some reason I was like draft day, and I was like, draft day is baseball. No, draft day is football. So I'm going to go draft day.
Draft Day. People hate on that movie. I absolutely love that movie.
Mhm.
There is nothing like watching Kevin Costner trade away the Browns' future and then somehow getting it all back and getting David Mother effing Putney. That's what he says in the movie there. It's just somehow getting him back there. It is just wild. It is just absolutely wild. So, yes, Draft Day is in there.
All right. So the third one, something tells me it might be another football movie.
We got one guess here, Kyle. We got one guess.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go classic with this one. I'm gonna say Rudy.
Rudy is fantastic, but it's Remember the Titans.
See, that was the other one in my head too. Oh, because I love Remember the Titans.
It's a great film. That is a great movie right there. So, yeah, I mean, that was pretty darn good. I mean, didn't really even give you a list. So that's pretty darn good right there. But, hey, what's not going good, Kyle, is this Bucs team.
Mm-hmm.
This Bucs team's not going good right now. And we can also, I mean, so game one, no Dame. Kuzma gives you 0 points. I mean, Taurean Prince is just is it just me? And this somebody asked a serious question off the top.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Kuzma and Taurean Prince. For me, I don't know what it is, but why don't the Bucs, why doesn't Doc Rivers look into his bag and say, maybe we should switch the rotation up? Maybe I should go and find a different rotation, a different starting lineup that's going to work a little bit better. Because Kyle Kuzma, it's not that he's not getting shots, Kyle, because that's what Doc tells me. That's his cop-out, right? He tells me, oh, well, he's not getting enough shots. Bull crap. Bull crap. He just is. Nobody is scared of Kyle Kuzma. Nobody is scared of Kyle Kuzma right now. So, I mean, Kyle, why is Doc not willing to look for rotational changes?
I mean, look, if you remember when we talked before the series started, I said a key was going to be Doc and his stubbornness at times, especially in the playoffs. He loves to rely on veterans. He'd much rather go the veteran route than necessarily young and inexperienced. And I think that's where he's going to run into problems with this Indy team. Because due to that, and the fact that the Bucs are a little older than the Pacers are, you can't waste minutes necessarily with Prince and Kuzma. Because I also said, with a guy like Prince, if he has it going, then you give him a little more, like 5 minutes more. If he's not giving you anything, you got to cut the cord. Now, he only played 19 minutes tonight, but he only gave you 6 points. He didn't give you any rebounds. Gave you like 4 assists. That doesn't really scream 19 minutes worth from a guy who's been in the league for a while now. Kuzma, on the other hand, I feel like here's the problem. If Kuzma is your 4th or 5th option, or even like your 6th man off the bench, you're probably in better shape. With this Bucs team, without Dame, he's supposed to be your number 2. That's not who Kuzma is. Dame comes back. Kuzma's now supposed to be your 3rd option. I don't think he's that either. Like, perfect world, you got Giannis, you have Dame. Portis had 28 tonight. Can Portis keep that up over the rest of the series, though? I don't know. If he does, Portis now becomes kind of your 3rd, even though he's like the 6th man, which is a little weird. But look, you're at the point, you're down 2-0, you're going home. Glass half full. All the Pacers did was take care of business at home and win their 2 games. So now all the Bucs have to do is win games 3 and 4. Then you basically reset the series as the best 2 out of 3. The worry, if you're a Bucs fan, Dame is rusty. He could still be rusty game 3. And Doc is just going to stick to his guns, and he's going to go down blazing with what he's comfortable with. And that's kind of infuriating because Kuzma's been a disappointment. Prince has been a disappointment. I mean, we talked about like Porter Jr. is supposed to be a difference maker. He only plays 15 minutes. Should maybe he get some more minutes and Prince can? I would love to see Doc make adjustments. Unfortunately, it's just not the type of coach he is. So you're gonna have to kind of
Ryan Rollins starts game 1 and then doesn't play in game 2. How do you go from starter to last on the depth chart within a game? Tell me that one.
Because the Doc, it's like Dame came back. Hey, young guy, keep the warm up on. Don't need you anymore.
I just would rather go small ball at that point. I'd rather go small ball lineup and just try to go with it. Put Porter and Dame out there at the same time. Try to find some scoring. Try to find something because, like you mentioned there, I mean, Prince is doing nothing for you. 2 games now. People are like, oh, well, he does this. No, I don't care. I don't. 2 turnovers in this one, 2 big turnovers, costly turnovers. He had a late turnover in the first half. That's a problem. You got turnovers galore for this team here. I mean, Porter had 3, so that doesn't help his case out at all there. But I mean, you had 15 turnovers for the Bucks in total there. You can't do that against a team like the Pacers. Right now, my biggest thing with the Pacers, I dislike the Pacers. I don't know what it is. I just hate the Pacers. It drives me nuts, man. Halliburton, I'm supposed to like Halliburton because he's a Wisconsin guy. I don't like Halliburton. I don't like Halliburton. He just drives me nuts. So that makes this series even worse is that they're losing it to the Pacers again. It just drives me absolutely nuts because this Pacers team, I don't know if it's just me, Kyle, but I look at the Bucks and I'm like, you should be able to compete with this team. Like you should. I look at this Pacers team. I'm like, it's at times. I honestly, I was listening to the announcers the other day. I think it was the beginning of game 1 there, and they are just plowing into the Bucks, just boom, plowing into them, and they're like, oh, they just play physical. I'm like, no, it's just stupid. It's just stupid basketball. But that's the way the Pacers play. They play dirty. What drives me nuts is Halliburton. He only talks, and it's the truth. He only talks when they're winning basketball games, and he drives me absolutely bonkers when he does it there. So, I mean, that's enough my rant for the night there. I'm so sick of watching. It's just disgusting at this point here. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, Doc Rivers has to, if the Bucks want to do anything, Doc Rivers has got to adjust himself.
Yep.
It's not about players adjusting right now. It is about Doc adjusting. If Damian Lillard is rusty, what good is he on the basketball floor? What good is he on the floor? For 37 minutes, I love Dame. Like I want to see Dame do me something. But if he's rusty, put somebody else in there.
Yeah.
The Bucks won 8 straight without Dame.
Exactly.
Why do you all of a sudden think, oh, well, we need him? Yeah, we do, but we need a lot of things. We need Kyle Kuzma to do something. We need Taurean Prince to do something. And if they're not going to do something, why does AJ Green go from being this lights-out three-point shooter to now he can only see the floor for 12 minutes? Exactly. Where did Andre Jackson Jr. go? We just forgot about him? Just gone? He was a starter at one point with Dame. Now it's like, oh, Andre Jackson Jr. is just an afterthought because, oh, well, he's not as good offensively. I would rather take Andre Jackson Jr. defensively than what Taurean Prince is doing for me at all.
Yeah. And when you look at this Pacers team, a lot of times where the Bucks get in trouble, I mean, look, they started the game tonight with, like, they started out in zone. And it was like the worst zone I'd seen because all Indy did was like dribble drive, kick out, wide open shot. And then it's like when they try to play man, the Pacers are seeking out like the slowest defender on the floor for the Bucks, and they're attacking. The amount of times I saw the Pacers skip a pass to the outside of the floor, defense is trying to track back, but they get out of position and the guy beats them off the dribble and they get into the lane. It just becomes too easy for Indiana. And I agree with you. With Indiana is a team that you want to make them uncomfortable because then you'll see the true Pacers team. Because they're having fun now because they're up 2-0. If this was the other way around, the Pacers become the whiniest, like cheap shottish type of team because they like to front run. So the thing saving Doc is if you win game 3, you can at least peel back some of that love that the Pacers have for themselves. And then if you take game 4, now you're really dealing with momentum on your side. And trust me, game 5 would be much different against this Pacers team. Now, if the Pacers win game 3, you might start talking sweet because the Pacers will be very confident in themselves.
Yeah. If they win game 3, I just got that bad feeling it's night-night. Like, See you later. That's about it. Wrap the season up, boys. Maybe fire Doc on the way out the door. That's kind of where it's at right now.
If they get swept, yeah, Doc's got to go. And I think a more innovative. I feel like a more innovative coach would do like you said. The Pacers aren't some like extra big team. Like Miles Turner is a center who wants to play like a small forward. Like he can rebound a little bit, but I don't think this is a good series for Brook Lopez. So why is he getting 16 minutes when all that's going to happen is Turner's going to run him like ragged when he's on defense, and then offensively, he's not going to put too much pressure on the Pacers. So I would love to see minutes with Giannis at the 5. You bring in Portis, you go Porter, Lillard, and like the 5th spot, you kind of rotate that amongst whoever has it that night. I think you can get away with that against this Pacers team. Will Doc try it? I don't know. He may wait until like it's 3-0 and they need game 4 and he'll experiment with it. By that point, it's a little too late.
Yeah, like you were talking there, Brook Lopez. I mean, you can't get him by Miles Turner, so why don't you put Bobby Portis out there? Why don't you let that ride? You can let Jericho Sims go out there. He's not going to be much of a scorer for you, but he's going to be more of a defensive presence, I guess you could say. I mean, you'd be better off, honestly, throwing Brook Lopez on a guy like Andrew Nembhard and just having him stand a little ways back and, hey, shoot the 3. He's shooting like 29% on the season from downtown. Let him shoot. And if he hits, he hits. If he doesn't, if he gets hot, then you pull him off him. But yeah, Brook Lopez in this series is just kind of a non-factor. If Doc doesn't adjust, that's going to be a quick 3-4 and out and just done. This series will be done. That's just, I mean, the cold hard truth for this Bucks team right now. And like you said, I mean, and it's not like this Pacers team's full of a bunch of juggernauts. Like this isn't like we're playing the Celtics right now. This isn't like we're playing the Cavs right now, or even the Knicks. We're playing the Pacers. This isn't that. I mean, they're good. They're not great. This isn't like it's not a mountain that you have to climb here. It's just the Bucks cannot put it together because like you said, and like I'm saying, and like a lot of Bucks fans are starting to come to the realization of right now, Doc Rivers is not it. He just does not fit the bill. Andre Jackson Jr. played 0 minutes in this entire game against the Pacers. 0 minutes. You are a team that struggles defensively, and your best defender in Andre Jackson Jr. did not touch the floor. And in game 1, he touched the floor for 1 minute.
Yep. Yeah. Like you got to give the Pacers something else to think about.
Yep.
The Pacers are too comfortable playing this set rotation right now. Too comfortable. You gotta shake it up.
Yeah, make it a dogfight. That's what you want. Make this thing a dogfight with Andre Jackson Jr. playing defense. Jericho Sims playing defense. Give them something. But right now, you can't. The Bucks cannot go toe-to-toe offensively with anybody. Nope. They can't go Florida. I was watching, because I didn't have the game on. I was on the ESPN app, and I was watching, it gives you the play-by-play or whatever, the game cast. And I'm watching, it's like, boom, 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 back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, the Bucks can't keep up in a game like this. Not with Dame being rusty, because you're asking for guys just to fire up threes at that point. And the Bucks cannot keep up with that. So when I look at that, I'm like, you got to do something, like you're saying, do something else. Bring in some defenders, slow the game down, try to win a dogfight. Right now, you're going back to Milwaukee. Don't make it the Pacers kind of game. The Pacers want to run. They want you to turn the basketball over. They want you to do those stupid things. That's what you're doing. You're playing into their hands.
Exactly.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. This could get ugly. Game 3 could be ugly. Game 3, I believe. What is it? When is Game 3? That comes up on the 20. Oh, goodness gracious. What is that? Do they play Thursday now?
They might play like Friday.
25th. Friday. So they'll play Friday and then Sunday. They'll have Friday and then Sunday, and then game 5 if necessary. So that'll be all the way on the 29th, so next Tuesday there. So, I mean, maybe, Kyle, we're talking Bucks. We're going to talk Bucks next time Kyle's on. We got to wrap it up here. We're way over. We're way past, right? Top of the hour here. But, I mean, we're going to talk Bucks next time. It's just, are we talking about a continuation of the series, or are we talking about why we want Doc fired? Like, where are we at with the Milwaukee Bucks? That's what we're going to be talking about this next time there. Kyle, I mean, one last thing before you get out of here. Looking at these series right now, which one, I asked you last time, which one intrigued you the most? Which one, now that they've started, is intriguing you the most? Like, which one are you really like, man, this series is fun to watch?
I mean, it's still kind of Nuggets, Clippers, and Pistons, Knicks. I'm more confident the Pistons get it done after what I saw in game 2.
I like that. And yeah, they were giving Cat fits. They were giving Jalen Brunson fits out there. What did you think Anthony Edwards yelling into the crowd? He said some choice words into the crowd there. I'm not going to say them here on the radio, but you guys can go look them up if you want. But what'd you think about that? Like, I see that and I'm like, this needs to stop. Like, you guys got to be professionals. I think there's a line and you got to be professionals, right?
Yeah. Ant is still young. He's still got some immaturity in him, and that's where you see it when he does stuff like that. Yeah.
100%. I mean, like I said, you guys want to see what he said, you can look it up and figure that one out for yourself there. But I would agree, Knicks and Pistons, that was a great game too that we saw there. I want to see the Warriors. I want to see the Warriors for some reason beat the Rockets. I have always ever since it's just been Steph against the world in Golden State, I've just wanted to see the Warriors do something every single year because it's just fun. Like watching Steph play is just fun there, and watching him in game 1 there against the Rockets, that was fun basketball. Jimmy Buckets is playing well for him too, so we'll see how that series kind of shakes out there between the Warriors and the Rockets, but some good stuff there NBA wise here. So, hey, Kyle, thank you as always for coming on. We'll have Kyle back next week. We're going to have a little bit more time to talk, hopefully more Bucks basketball, like season continuing, not wrapping up the season. We'll talk more NBA next time. And then, hey, we're going to have Kyle on next time. We're going to talk MLB too. I want to get wide spectrum MLB, so we'll have Kyle on for that too. So, Kyle, thanks for coming on. As always, we'll be back here at after this commercial break. We'll come back. We're going to talk Brewers. We got a little bit more Brewer talk, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. So make sure you're coming back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back here on this Wednesday. And hey, this next segment of the show here, this Brewer Talk, is sponsored by Foreman's Hardware. They offer everything from home essentials to farm supplies, house to farm, grills to drills. Foreman's Hardware has got you covered. Visit today in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin. There, tell them Trade sent you. Get 5% off. That is in Loyal, Colby, or Medford, Wisconsin. There. So hey, I mean, if you missed any of the last couple segments, because we've had great guests on tonight. Ummer was in the first hour. We had Kyle on just before this last commercial break, and then we had Scary Alvarez on a little bit earlier there. If you missed any of it, make sure you go back and check us out on the podcast platforms, on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. You can find the show there, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe. Hit us up on all social media platforms. You can find us out there, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. Find us across social media and give us a like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is. We'd love to make more content for you guys and get you guys more info, whatever it is, about Wisconsin sports there. So, hey, I want to talk Brewers here. We talked Bucks in the last little segment there. I want to talk Brewers now because I'm looking at this Brewer team right now. It's been, as of late, right? Brewers been playing well. And I want to talk about some of the tidbits that have been coming out of a lot of Brewer fans' mouths, right? Because Brewer fans, I love Brewer fans, and they also drive me nuts at the same time because we are some optimistic and some very... I don't know what the word would be. Very upset. We're very upset people. We are very standards, not very high. And some have high standards and have never been met. I don't know what those high standards are or what their expectations are. But I wanted to mention Logan Henderson, the rookie, fantastic first outing there the other day. That 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts. He was fantastic. He did get sent back down to the minors. They want to keep him as a starter. So the big thing was with Tobias Myers coming back, they had to find a roster spot, for him out there. And Logan Henderson had just pitched. The thing with it is you don't want to move him to the bullpen because then his usage changes up, because you want to have him as a backup starter just in case. So you send him back down to AAA, keep him going as a starter, keep giving him the extended innings, everything like that. And then if you need him again, hopefully no injuries, right? Knock on wood. But if there is, then you're able to bring him back up. So we see him going down there. Last night, also, Jacob Mizorowski had a fantastic outing down there in Nashville. 6 innings, 1 hit, 8 strikeouts, and 1 walk. So Jacob Mizorowski down there in the minors, too. There's a lot of fantastic stuff going down in the AAA portion there. Tobias Myers, I just mentioned it there. He is slated to start Thursday for the Brewers there against San Francisco. So the depth is starting to return for this Brewers pitching staff. And I'm excited. Right? Because you look at the potential of this rotation when everybody comes back. Like, everybody's coming back. when they're all back, right? The potential rotation. Freddie Peralta, Tobias Myers, Chad Patrick, Jose Quintana, and Brandon Woodruff. Nice. Everybody, and you, if you tell me that you weren't one of these people, I would be very surprised. Everybody was at the point this spring where they said, right at the start of the season, and said, why did we go out and get more starting pitching? Why did we go get more starting pitching? Why did we do this? Why did Mark Anastasio spend money? Why did Matt Arnold go out and grab these guys? And it's just like, okay, I get it, right? We have no starters left. We're kind of diving into we had Elvin Rodriguez start for a while there, right? We didn't know what the heck was happening. But now you look at it and you're like, okay, maybe that's why. They looked at the injuries they had and said, well, Tobias will be back pretty soon. We have Jose Quintana's ramping up. Brandon Woodruff is more of a miraculous thing. But you had Cortez. You didn't think he was going to hurt. You're kind of in that boat where it's like, we got guys. It's just, can we survive until those guys are back? Because if we added another guy to this fold, look at what we had to do with Henderson. We had to send him down to the minors just because we didn't have a spot for him. Henderson was fantastic in his debut. 9 strikeouts. The number one in most strikeouts in a rookie debut was Freddie Peralta with 13 against the Rockies there. Remember that? That was a great game. Now we look back and it's like, okay, Logan Henderson was right up there. But he gets not designated, but he gets optioned right away. Why? Because they just didn't have the room at the big league level for him because they got guys returning. What would you have done if you would have brought in all these guys, right? Because I love Tobias Myers. Tobias Myers is fantastic. If he pitches like he did last year, if he can get back to that form, then what we saw last season there, who were you going to replace him with? Chad Patrick has been fantastic. Jose Quintana, fantastic. Brandon Woodruff, what are you going to not bring back Woody? What are you going to do? It's one of those things where it's like, I get it. I get everything, all the complaining and everything like that. I understand it. But at the same time, you had the depth. It's just a matter of getting the depth healthy. And the depth is getting healthy. And once it does, you just had to survive until then. Now it's healthy. And now it's like, let's go. Let's go. This is like free agency, trade deadline, put it all together. This was what you were hoping for. Was around this time you were going to get these guys back, and you still have guys coming back, right? Aaron Savali's still got to come back. Cortez is on the 60-day IL now. I have no idea. That was wild because the report that I saw was Cortez wasn't that bad. Like he wasn't hurt. Like he was hurt, but he wasn't hurt, right? And it wasn't that bad, and the screening didn't show much. And then all of a sudden now he's on the 60-day IL. What happened? Right? What happened from now to then, right? I was expecting Cortez back at some point. But either way, now he's on the 60 IL. So Cortez is out for a little bit. But you're going to get Savali back. You have a lot of weapons now. A lot of arms. If you can keep him healthy, you got a lot of arms. Henderson. You still have Mizarowski. I just mentioned there before. You still have Mizarowski down there. And at some point, I know we're talking pitchers right now, but Daz Cameron's going to come back up. I keep seeing him across the minor league. Daz Cameron, the son of Mike Cameron, he came over in that trade for Grant Wolfram from the Orioles. He's homered in 3 straight games I just saw the other night there. He's been fantastic. I mean, I don't know if it's going to translate to the big league level, but you got another outfielder down there. But back to the pitchers, right? Right, mine's all over the place. Back to the pitchers. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this Brewers roster once these guys come back, once Woodruff comes back, once you have a full rotation, like I just said there, of Freddie, Myers, Patrick, Quintana, and Woody. That is a good rotation. I don't care whatever way you want to set it up. You want to set Freddie's been great. So you want to set up Freddie, Myers, Quintana, Woody. I don't know who you're going to go with. Like if you win 3-game series, if all those guys come back and they're pitching as we believe they can, who do you go with in 3 games? I don't even know. I'm not even going to get to speculation at this point here. But I love where this Brewers team's at right now. So that's been great. That's been great stuff there. I did see another thing. Does Jackson Chourio need to take more walks? Because the way that it sits right now, Jackson Chourio, I mean, I love the guy. Jackson Chourio is good. He's a talent. He's a definite talent. But has he walked at all? I don't believe he's walked at all. Last time I had seen it, Jackson Chourio, last time, 2 walks. 2 walks on the entire year. Last time I looked. So you got 2 walks on the entire year. Does he need to walk more? I think it's going to come down to the fact of once these guys, I mean, he's been hitting well, right? 260. Not great, but well. Once these guys kind of start to figure him out and start to pitch around the zone because he's not prone to walking, I think that is going to become an issue. So it is an issue, right? I think it is an issue because if he starts chasing a lot, he might be making contact, but is it good contact, right? Because if you're chasing around the zone, sometimes it's not great contact. And then you run into issues that in that sense, right? Because you're just sending out little bloopers or whatever it is, little, dribblers back to second base or back to the pitcher, whatever it is. So I would say that the lack of walks, I'm not nervous yet, but they could most definitely lead to problems down the road. Because, like I said, once you start to figure them out, pitchers, they're smart, right? Big league pitching coaches are smart. They'll figure you out. And then once they do, it's the adjustment, right? And if they start pitching him around the zone because he's prone to chasing instead of drawing walks, well, that's a problem. So that's where I'm kind of at with the walk thing right now. Is it a problem right now? I wouldn't say so. Could it be? Yes, because he does have 25 strikeouts on the year. Now, he did have 5 in one game, so that definitely was not a good way to start the year, right? But still, 20 strikeouts outside of that game. Not great. So the lack of walks do lead a lot more strikeouts. The on-base percentage is at 272. His batting average is almost higher than his on-base percentage. Not generally something that is that close in numbers. But that's where he's at. So we'll see. I mean, maybe he starts drawing walks. Maybe he starts becoming a little more confident up there, taking pitches, whatever. He works counts. Like, it's not like he doesn't work counts. He works counts really well. It's just when he works counts, he's driving, like, poking balls out. He's following things off, and he's very good at that. He's very good at working counts. It's just a matter of when he's working counts, can he also lay off bad pitches? Because it's when he's swinging at curveballs in the dirt or he's swinging at this and that. That's when I have an issue. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at right now with the Jackson Chourio thing. Craig Yoho, he made his debut there with the Brewers. I thought that was funny that his changeup dropped so much that the MLB at Bat app did not know it was a changeup. It came in as a curveball. That's how they recorded it. I had to take a little screenshot of the screen there because I didn't believe. I was like, well, he doesn't throw, like, he's not throwing a curveball. His main pitch is a changeup. That is, yep, he was throwing a changeup, and they just it registered in as a curveball there. So that, I thought that was quite humorous. He gave up a run. I mean, it's whatever. It's his first outing. I'm not going to throw the book in on Craig Yoho. I think he's fantastic. I think he's got great stuff. So we'll see what he can kind of develop into for the Brewers there. I thought that was a great bring up for him. Yoel Payamps is kind of on the ropes right now. He's been taken out of the high leverage situations. He's kind of in the not really any leverage at all. Just maybe if they're kicking the butt out of somebody, or if it's an ugly game, they're getting their butt kicked. We see Yoel Payamps, but outside of that, Yoel Payamps is kind of at the end of the rope right now. And it's a question of, do they kick him into the water? Because the thing with it is when you send Yoel Payamps, has to be designated for assignment. He can't go anywhere else. He doesn't have options. He has to be designated. So if you get rid of Yoel Payamps, you have to designate him. You lose him. Now, a lot of Brewer fans, that's okay. For the Brewers, they still see something there. And they see him as a guy who's tipping pitches right now. So if you can get rid of that, does that fix Yoel Payamps? I don't know. I would have thought they would have been able to figure this one out by now. They haven't. Because his first outing the other night there, he gave a home run. Now, this couple nights ago, I believe he came in for a third of an inning there, and he got out of it on a fly ball. So good news there, right? Didn't give up anything in a third of an inning. But after that, I mean, we're kind of at the point where, I don't know. We'll see what the Brewers do, what they want to do with that bullpen. I mean, if there's one thing that I believe the Brewers know and what they can do well is develop and create and make good pitchers. Like Grant Anderson's been fantastic for him. Grant Anderson coming out of spring, even you listen to Pat Murphy, he's like, this guy even surprised me. Grant Anderson, 13 innings. He's given up, I believe, 5 runs in total there on 12 hits, 5 walks, 15 strikeouts. He's been great for the Brewers. Been great. it's, those surprising guys that the Brewers are able to fix. Now it's a question of, does the Brewers still believe that they can fix a guy like Yoel Payamps, or is it kind of, Yoel Payamps is about at the end of the ropes. He's one of your most used bullpen arms. Looking at it, Canning's at 12 games, and then you look at Abner Uribe's pitching 10 games, and so is Yoel Payamps. So he's one of your most used relievers. I just don't think he should. I'm at the end of what Yoel Payamps could do. If you think he can fix him, maybe designate him for assignment, see if he can come back to AAA and see if he can fix him from there. But right now at the big league level, I don't see a benefit of having him up there. So, we got a little bit more Brewer talk. I want to talk a little Joey Ortiz when I come back from the break here. Joey Ortiz is in the news. He hasn't been hitting well. I want to talk a little Joey Ortiz, and then I want to wrap it up for the day here. We had a great show, so I want to wrap it up here on the backside of the break. We'll be right here. We're right back here on Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Welcome back to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage, coming back on this Wednesday. And hey, if you missed any of the show, make sure you check us out across the podcast platforms out there. We'll be available next day, always next day, on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. You can find the show there. Just search Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. You can also find us Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. Just search Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. You'll find us across those platforms. You can shoot us an email. Shoot us an email there at wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. That is wiscosportsonthego@gmail.com. Or you can shoot us a text with text in line 715-990-4914. That is 715-990-4914 there. So, hey, we went to the break. We were talking about the Brewers, talking about the pitching, what we've seen as of late here. Turang, Frelick, they're off to torrid start so far this year. We see Turang and Frelick both still batting above 300 there. Hoskins has started to come along nice, and he's starting to feel it at the plate. He's starting to see the ball better, drive it to the different parts of the ballpark there, and the long ball has been there again for Rhys Hoskins. So love to see that. The Rhys is starting to heat up. One guy who hasn't, and sadly, this was a guy that I was really hoping, I had high hopes for heading into this season. Joey Ortiz. I said, Joey Ortiz, this is a guy where he's going to be taking over for Willy Adames. You just wanted to see him show you something. 177 so far. Not great, right? Not great at all. Maybe, just maybe at some point he finds it. But as of right now, not yet. So I did a little deep dive. I looked around and I was searching articles and everything like that. And I was like, okay, where can I'm looking around. I'm like, I want to find out what's going on with Joey Ortiz, because there has to be somebody who dove into the numbers. Well, somebody dove into the numbers. Last season, when you looked at his strike zones, where he was prone to swing, right? Where he was looking to swing. The inner half of the plate. Last season, he wanted to make pitchers work the inner half. He didn't really swing outer half. He wanted to make guys. He wouldn't really nibble out there. He let pitchers go outside all they wanted. He was going to swing if he had to. But he was looking for the inside part of the plate. He wanted the inside pitch. He wanted to pull it, right? And he had a great, fantastic torrid start for the Brewers, ended up getting hurt, and then he came back and he wasn't as good. But this season, when you look at his strike zone, it's all over the place. Outer half, inner half. He's high, he's low, he's center. He's everywhere. He's swinging at everything, and it's at a high clip. Is the bad part of it? Because if you looked at it and you said, okay, it's not so high on that outer half, but he's still, prone to the inner half, it won't be so bad. Not so much. Now, I'm at the point now where I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the strike zones, and in my opinion, it just doesn't look like Joey Ortiz knows what he's looking for. What does he want to do? Where is he looking at, and what is he looking to drive? Hitters, they love to find their spot, their pitches, right? Those pitches that's theirs. That's their spot where they're looking all the time. And it's what he had figured out last year. He was always looking inner half. Right now, you look at Sal Frelick for the Brewers, and he's looking in inner half. He's looking to pull the hands in and drive it, right? Turn on it real fast. Turang's looking all over the place. He's just going to slap the ball wherever it is. But Sal's been looking inner half. Joey Ortiz, I just don't believe he has a clue where he's looking. And that is a huge problem. So, also they also went off his swing speed, And his swing speed is down 1.7 miles per hour from last year. It was 73 last year. Now he's only averaging about 71. 73 to 71. So the bat speed went down a little bit. Now it's not crazy, but it's still something to keep an eye on. Because with that bat speed going down, that has some things to do with reaching that inside part of the plate too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking at this right now and saying to myself, Joey Ortiz is in a hole. And looking at the numbers and what we're seeing right now, is there a worry? Yes, because I just mentally, I don't think he hasn't been able to figure out what he wants, what he's looking for. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. So we'll see. We'll see if maybe, hitting coaches can work with him there. They can get him kind of figured out, but we'll wait and see on that one there. Caleb Durbin has been fantastic since coming up. Like I mentioned early on in the season before this thing even started, I said arm strength was my only worry at third base. So far, he's been fine. He's been fine over there at third. He's been playing well defensively. The Brewers as a whole have been playing well defensively. So you love to see that. My only worry right now is I was just mentioning the Joey Ortiz. It's not as big of a concern if other guys continue to carry, right? If Rhys Hoskins continues to figure it out, and then Christian Yelich comes along, and William Contreras comes along, and you have guys like Sal and Bryce Terang and Jackson Chourio hitting, you can kind of hide a guy like Joey Ortiz in a lineup. Problem is, right now he sticks out like a sore thumb because the rest of them are struggling. Otherwise, you got 6-7 guys who are hitting semi-consistently, like we've seen with Chourio, with Terang, with Frelick, Contreras, Yelich, and Hoskins. Maybe Mitchell starts getting it going. You got that kind of consistency. I mean, you can hide a guy like Ortiz. Do you want to? No, but you also look at it like, okay, if he struggles a little bit, it's not so bad. If he hits 220, whatever, it's not so bad if you got to sacrifice it for a good defensive shortstop for now. Because it's for now. You got prospects down there you're going to bring up. They're going to take a spot eventually, right? I'm not in the boat of we need to throw Joey Ortiz off the plank yet. He's not walking the plank. He's okay yet. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens with the Brewers there. But hey, the Brewers, they got a couple good games coming up here. They got San Francisco. They're going to wrap up this series with San Francisco here coming up tomorrow there with Tobias Myers on the mound. And then we got St. Louis. They're going to be heading to St. Louis there for the weekend before taking on the White Sox and then come back home for the Cubs there in that next weekend. They got all the way until next weekend there. They're going to be on the road. I just want them to get off this West Coast because I'm sick of watching these West Coast games there. So with that, it was a great show today. We had Umar on top of the show. We had Kyle on talking Bucks. We had Scary on talking Badgers. It was fantastic. If you missed any of the show, make sure you go back, check it out across all podcast platforms. Just search Wisconsin Sports on the Go Trade. So, hey, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your night and week. But until we talk to you guys again next Wednesday, see ya.